Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor for me to be the contest chair for KBR Toastmasters' very first international speech contest and evaluation contest. Chief Judge, Madam Toastmaster Deanne Richardson, respected panel of judges, contest officials, contestants, fellow Toastmasters, and esteemed guests. Good afternoon and a very welcome to each one of you. The purpose of this international speech contest is twofold. One, to provide the participants an opportunity to improve their speaking skills. Second, to provide an opportunity to learn by observing the more proficient speakers who have benefited from their Toastmasters training and journey over the years. This contest is the only contest that proceeds beyond the district to the region, quarterfinal, semi-final, and all the way to the finals of the World Championship of Public Speaking. So one of you could take part in it and could become the world champion in public speaking 2021. And this is just the very first step today. All the contestants have met the eligibility criteria and all the contestants have been briefed about the rules and timings of the contest. For the benefit of everyone, timing will begin with the contestants' first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. The time allocated is 5 to 7 minutes. There will be a grace period of 30 seconds. Speakers speaking for less than 4 minutes 30 seconds or more than 7 minutes 30 seconds will be disqualified. The green virtual background will be displayed at 5 minutes and it will be displayed for 1 minute. Thank you, Asima. And the yellow card will be displayed at 6 minutes and will remain displayed for 1 minute until red card will be displayed at 7 minutes and will remain displayed until the speech has concluded. No signal will be given for the overtime period. There will be 1 minute interval between speeches for the judges to mark their ballots. Judges are instructed not to consider time in their ranking for the speakers. After all, the contestants have finished their speeches. Judges will hand over their respective ballots as discussed in the judging briefing and the following email. Protests may be only entered by the contestants or judges to either the chief judge or to myself as contest chair. Once the result of the contest has been announced, all decisions are final. So any protest got to be before that. The speaking order of the contestants has been determined. The speaking order is first, Josh Fernandez. Second, Noila Gembrano. I will welcome each contest on the virtual stage one by one in the sequence just mentioned. I will then announce the contestant's name, the speech title, and the contestant name. After that, the stage will be for the contestant. Dear audience, I request you to kindly keep your mic and camera switched off during the contest. Once all the speech is done, then I will request you all to engage. But until then, please keep yourself quiet with your mics and your cameras switched off, please. Are we ready? I wish all the contestants the very best. May I take this opportunity to check with Chief Judge? Could you please confirm if all the judges are eligible and have they been briefed?
I can confirm that they're all eligible and have been briefed.
Great, thank you. So with your permission, can we begin the contest?
You may.
Fantastic, thank you so much. Dear timer, could you please confirm that you are good for the timing? You're ready? I think you have been flashing.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Great, thank you, timer. With that, I would like to invite contestant 1. And here we going. Right. I would like to invite Josh. Josh, could you please confirm you can hear me, you can read me, Okay. If you can unmute yourself, I can also confirm I can hear you.
Hiya. Can you hear me?
Great. Yes. Yes, I can hear you as well. I can see you. So, contestant 1, Josh Fernandez. Speech title, Some Reasons to Get Excited About the Future. Some reasons to get excited about the future, Josh Fernandez. Over to you.
Hello, Toastmasters. It is so easy to get anxious, down, depressed, given the current state of affairs of the world. Compounding crises, COVID, virtual working, feeling more isolated than ever. We've got climate change crisis and, of course, growing student debt, which is a key one for me. And as I lay in bed at night sometimes, I try and think of some reasons to get excited about the future. And I'd like to share a couple of them with you today. The 3 reasons I'm going to share is the energy transition, consumer technology, and cellular agriculture. So bear with me. First, on consumer technology, it's probably one which we can all relate to quite easily. I'm just going to say a few words and just internalize them and think about them for a moment. 40 megapixels, 500 gigabytes of memory, Bluetooth enabled, 1080p HD ready touchscreen display. Now, for all of us, those items are pretty simple metrics, right? Metrics of utility that we have for consumer goods we use every day. My grandparents don't really have a clue what half of those things are because they haven't really been around that long. You know, if you think back maybe 20 years or so, those individual pieces of utility might have only actually existed as individual pieces of technology. You know, a digital camera here, satellite navigation system over there, Bluetooth enabled device somewhere, and they might have cost hundreds, maybe thousands, you know, a touch screen, a nice flat screen TV that costs thousands of pounds as individual items. But today, you know, in 2021, I've got that in my pocket for about £20 a month. So we've come crazy far in the last 20 years, just since I've been alive. And what I find magical and exciting is that this consumer technology that's going to be so powerful and so useful in everyday lives, where is that going to be in 20 years' time? That's only going to get cheaper, more accessible and more available to all of us. And that really excites me as a guy that really enjoys my gadgets as well. One of the things which has enabled that is declining cost curves, right? Economies of scale with the manufacturing of silicon chips and lithium-ion batteries. And that brings me on to my second point that I'd like to discuss, which is energy transition. With the cost curves of these lithium-ion batteries for our laptops and for our phones, that's also enabled the declining prices of some other technology, which is going to be really key in this energy transition, this approach to use more energy in our lives, but do it sustainably and with lower carbon emissions. You know, we're going to need things like batteries for all of our electric vehicles, you know, for all those Teslas. Other technology is sort of meeting the moment currently and is only going to get better. In the last decade, for example, solar power, wind power, batteries included, the costs of those have declined by some 90%. So we're well on our way in terms of technology that's available to start out competing some of the fossil fuel and some of the dirty emitting forms of energy that we have in our lives. And I think that's such an exciting period of humanity's timeline that we get to be a part of, and that I, particularly as an aspiring energy expert, get to contribute to during my career. So that, for me, bang on, really exciting. One element, though, which is going to be a tricky one, is agriculture. Growing emissions of agriculture, the agricultural industry, it's roughly 20% of the global emissions over, if you look at it over about a 20-year time period. And one of those big areas is meat and meat cultivation, livestock, all those belching methane cows roaming around all over the place. You know, as as populations grow, as we approach 10 billion by 2050 perhaps, more and more people happily will be coming out of poverty. And that will mean more and more people will be demanding meat. They'll be demanding meat products like dairy-derived milk proteins within foods, or leather goods, you know, other products that come from livestock animals. And so how are we going to deal with this growing area of the economy? You can't solve that with solar panels. This is where I come onto my third position, cellular agriculture. Now, what's cellular agriculture? Cellular agriculture is a form of biotechnology utilizing cells and biological reactions to grow synthetic materials. So that could be to grow meat products. So, you know, you've maybe heard of lab-grown meats. To grow also meat-derived products, so animal-derived products, things like synthetic leather, also those dairy-derived milk proteins. You can make those artificially with cells. And it's something which is very futuristic, quite nascent, but it's something which is very real. And it's something which is starting to happen now. Almost $1 billion have been put into the cellular agricultural industry in the last decade. And that number is only going to grow. And I think that's a really exciting area, because with cellular agriculture, you could start to render the cow pretty useless and the methane emissions that go along with it. And you can start to make meat and other synthetic products like leather with less water, less energy, and more efficiently and more available to the wider population without increasing damages to the environment and the deforestation that comes along with growing livestock. So that for me is a really key area where I think, you know, what are we going to be eating? What are we going to be using in the next 20 years or so? That is something which I find extremely curious and really exciting about the future. I'll just leave you with this now. I've spoken to you a little bit about some of the three areas which I've had a little think about in terms of what I'm curious about and get excited about. And I would just leave you with this. You know, if you're feeling down, feeling a bit depressed, feeling just anxious about the world in general, I would encourage you to have a think about where we are as humanity, where we've come in the last 20, 30 years, and have a little reflect on where we might be going, and pick a couple of areas which you find interesting, and hopefully you'll start to find some reasons of your own to get excited about the future. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Dear timer, could we please have a minute of silence and the timing for the judges to do the ballot, please?
One minute up.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Contestant 2, Noila Jambrano. Noila, could you please switch on your camera and confirm you can hear and see me? Right, I can confirm I can see you. Right, great. Could you say something like, your voice is a bit lower. Could you say?
Yes, I can confirm I can hear you. Yeah.
Great, and I can confirm I can hear and see you as well. So contestant 2, Noila Jambrano. Speech title, Optimal Body HP. optimal body pH. Noela Zambrano. Over to you, please.
Hi. Today I'm going to talk about something that is very important for the body, and is the pH. So in general, we all know what is essential for health. Yeah, a good diet, physical activity, how you breathe, how your oxygen gets into your body, and what you think. All these have an impact on the pH of the body. Is something here that is missing? You can think what is missing here. It's actually how we rest or how we sleep, which is when the body has the chance to recover and regenerate. And even that has an impact on the overall pH of the body. So the foods that you eat, when converted, leave an ash residue known as metabolic waste. This metabolic waste can be alkalinic or acidic. The body pH balance is that optimal level of acid and base balance in your body. So overall, the acidic level tends to give a poor health, and the alkaline is related to good health. So what is this magic number? What is this pH level that we all need to try to maintain? And the answer is somewhere around 7.4. And in pH terms, this is a bit in the alkaline side. So the good news is that you can test quite easily what is your pH level. So it is recommended that you test your pH level to determine if your body pH needs immediate attention by using pH test strips. If you have the body very acidic, that will decrease the body's ability to absorb vitamins and minerals and other nutrients. It will also decrease the energy production of the cells, decrease its ability to repair the damaged cells, and also decrease the ability to detoxify, or even it could make the cells, the tumor cells thrive and make it more susceptible to fatigue and illness. So these are the consequences that you may have if you are constantly in an acidic body environment. You can have cardiovascular damage. I'm not going to read all the illnesses you could have, but you can see there quite a lot. Hormonal problems, premature aging, gastritis, dry skin, depressive tendencies, the list goes on. So we can see this acidic body environment mostly in the industrialized nations. And this is because we mostly suffer from a very stressful lifestyle, and also the diet is the junk food for some reason is more easily available to us. So what is the alkaline diet? These are now a popular choice for people who want to achieve the optimum good health. However, many people don't actually understand this diet or how it works. The concept is actually fairly simple. The diet just focuses on regaining the balance that was lost when we started to eat more processed food. These foods can be either alkaline or acid in the natural state. So, but after we process it in the digestion, all they produce is something that we call alkaline ash. And this is the one that determines the balance. So a healthy diet will be somewhere in between 60 and 90% of alkaline foods, which are mainly fruits and vegetables, and 20 and 40% of acidifying foods, which are meats, nuts, grains, and everything else. I have here an extensive list of foods, so you can just have a quick look. I can pass you this information later on. just to highlight here, for example, the high alkaline ones are vegetable juices, spinach, broccoli, all this healthy, green, natural stuff. And the more natural, the fresher they are, the better for us. And for example, if you go to meat, they have very high acid like beef, pork, tuna, sardines. They can acidify the body quite a lot. So the intent is we reduce those foods and increase more the alkaline ones. Here, for example, something that we all have a lot is black tea, coffee, alcohol. Those are also very acidic to the body. This is another format to have the food in the level of alkalinity or acidic that you may find online. I have the path here if you want to research more. You can have a lot of information if you search online. And well, I hope this can motivate you all to have a bit more conscious eating and increase your greens in your diet to improve your immune system and your alkalinity in the body. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear timer, could we please have a minute of silence and timing for the judges to mark their ballot, please?
One minute is up.
Thank you, Madam Timer. I would like to congratulate both the participant, both the contestant, and having successfully completed our very first international speech contest. Given the time, we would like to move on to evaluation contest now, where we will listen to a test speech for 5 to 7 minutes. At the conclusion of the test speech, the contestant will be given exactly 5 minutes to prepare the evaluation. After 5 minutes are over, the second evaluator will be required to leave the meeting. So first evaluator could present her evaluation. Once first evaluation is done, I will be in touch with the second evaluator to rejoin the meeting to present his evaluation. The evaluation speech timings 2 to 3 minutes. Contestants will be disqualified if they speak less than 1 minute and 30 seconds or more than 3 minutes 30 seconds. Timing begin with the first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. Green light at 2 minutes, orange light at 2 minutes 30 seconds, red light 3 minutes, and remains on until speech concluded. There will be no signal given for going over time. Judges are instructed not to consider time in the ranking for the speakers. After the contestants finish, they will have a 1 minute between the speakers for the judges to complete their scores. The speaking order for the contestants has been determined. The speaking order is contestant 1, Ingrid Luff, contestant 2, Paul Church. And now, before we begin, so just to check, Chief Judge, could you please confirm that the judges have been briefed and we have the permission to start the evaluation contest, please?
I can confirm they've been briefed and you have permission to start.
Thank you so much, Madam Chief Judge. And with that, I would like to welcome our test speaker, Matt Tuff. Matt Tuff, speech title, "We are all brothers, we are all sisters." We are all brothers, we are all sisters. Matt Tuff, over to you, please.
What is your favorite travel destination? Maybe it's France. Perhaps it's Italy. Possibly Spain. Not for me. I love going off the beaten track. I've been to a number of unusual destinations, but perhaps one of my favorite holidays was a trip I took a number of years ago to a country called Somaliland. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about why I loved Somaliland so much and about a really important lesson that was brought home to me during my time there. Somaliland is a small, impoverished country on the Horn of East Africa, and I decided to go there in 2014. The flight lasted about 8 hours, but when we finally arrived and I stepped off the plane, I found myself in scorching heat. After dumping my bags at the hotel, I set off excitedly through the crowded, dusty streets to explore Hargeisa, the tiny capital of Somaliland. Now, I don't mind telling you, I felt quite conspicuous. During the whole of my time there, I didn't see a single other tourist. And at 6'4" tall, I fairly towered over most of the other people there. Now, Hargeisa is not what you'd call a tourist mecca, but despite the lack of tourist facilities, I have rarely felt more at home than I did during my time there. It was, without exception, the friendliest place I have ever visited. You seriously could not walk more than 10 feet down the road without someone hailing you and asking you where you came from. I felt like a celebrity. Every few steps I took, someone would say, "Hey, what's your name?" "Matt, good to meet you." "Where are you from?" "London." "What, Shepherd's Bush? What brings you here?" "I'm just here on holiday." It seems that everyone in Somaliland has heard of Shepherd's Bush. I was invited into numerous people's houses. I haven't had so much tea before or since. I didn't dare mention I'm more of a coffee man. Somaliland was possibly the only place I have been to where people actually seem to like the English. "Where are you from?" "England. We love the English. The English are our brothers." "Are you a Muslim?" "I'm afraid not. But no one's perfect." The locals even introduced me to a drug that's very popular in that part of the world called chat. Now, this is basically a green plant that you chew on and gives you effects as similar to amphetamines or speed. And it's completely legal. Alcohol is totally banned in this strict Muslim nation, but mind-altering drugs, no problem. I've mentioned that the people were really friendly, but the animals were quite a different matter. One morning, I was visiting one of the few tourist attractions in Hargeisa, the capital, which was a camel market in the center of town. I was completely minding my own business when suddenly a camel broke free from its owner and started charging towards me. These camels can run at quite a fair lick, and I had to make a split-second decision. Do I start running now and maybe allow the camel a chance to change direction and catch up with me? Or do I wait to the last second and then dive out of the way? I chose the latter option and managed to dive out of the way as the camel came thundering past. As I got up and dusted the desert sand from me, I realized that this was completely hilarious to my Somalian hosts, who were roaring with laughter at this strange Englishman. But to their credit, they did give me a cup of tea to calm my nerves. Now, I have many other adventures in my time in Somaliland, but my time there and the incredible friendliness of my hosts brought home a really important truth that perhaps should be obvious, but in these times of Trumpism, nationalist governments, arguments over vaccination conspiracies, it's a truth that bears repeating. And this is the truth that although we may come from very different parts of the world, have very different customs, different religions, we are all deep down essentially the same. We all want the same things. We want to be fed and watered. We want to be loved. We want to feel part of a community. As the man in Somaliland said to me, we are all brothers. We are all sisters. As I held long conversations with my hosts over numerous cups of tea, I realized that there was much more that united us than divided us. My challenge to you in these difficult times is to ignore those demagogic voices, those social media posts that would try to divide us, and instead try to see the common humanity in others, whatever their beliefs or backgrounds. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you, Matt. And may I request the timer to have 2.5 minutes instead for both contestants to prepare for it, because we are pushed for the time. And I have notified both the contestants, hopefully they won't mind it. 2.5 minutes, please, on the clock for the contestants to prepare for it. Thank you so much. And for both the contestants, for evaluation, Ingrid and Paul, feel free if you like to stay here, because I'm going to hand over participants' certificates and we'll continue talking until Asima will confirm that the timing is off. So if you'd like to stay here or for your evaluation speech, if you want to prepare in silence, feel free to leave the meeting and I will request you to join once the time is up. It's up to both of you as you wish. But the very first one, we will request Ingrid to join, and then later we will request Paul to join. So feel free to make your decision. And thank you so much, Matt, for it. Now, the way it goes, as I said, we get the certificates, we get the medals, and I'm looking at it. Guest 2 says, right, okay, they should have 5 minutes as per the rules. Thank you, Judge 2. Well, I'm not sure what else we can cut. We can see, we can stretch to 5 minutes, but then we will not have enough time. We will have to finish by 1. So let's see how much time we have in hand, right? But thank you for your concern. As I said, do understand that we have that much time in hand, and that's what we need to prepare for. Great. So meanwhile, what we do, we will share. So I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. Let me get the certificates up first. So the very first one in the speaking order is, and I'm sharing, my screen is getting shared. For Josh, let me have some. That's for you, Josh. Thank you so much for your participation.
Hey.
I hope you can hear that in the background.
Lovely.
Thank you, Josh. And continuing with that certificate of participation, and I will share the PDF with you later. For Noila, thank you, Noila, for being brave to be our very first contestant in the very first KBR Toastmaster contest. Thank you so much to both of you guys.
Thank
2
you.
minutes, 30
Really, really good
seconds.
to have. We have. Okay. And I would like to share this with Matt as well. Thank you so much, Matt, for our test speaker. Again, we will always remember you as the very first test speaker of KBR Toastmasters. You know, we're going to go for 100 years, but you will always be our very first test speaker here at KBR Toastmasters. Thank you so much for taking time. Thank you, Matt. Right, I'm going to close down. Okay, it's just taking some time. Right, great. Thank you so much, Asima. I saw the yellow, and I'm just looking. Right, it's 1:45 now. Great. So just a minute, and we will give a minute to Josh. Josh, would you like to switch on your camera? This is a part of interview segment. While we wait for, hey, here we go. Hey, right. So this was your very first contest. How did you feel? How did you prepare for it?
Yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it. First one. Yeah, I just kind of I had no idea what I was going to do, and had a inkling, and I haven't really preparing anything until last night. But I've just been thinking over it the last couple of weeks, trying to think, you know, what can I do a speech on? So I think for me, the most important thing was, what's the content going to be? And then if I'm comfortable with content, then I can, you know, actually think about performing it more as a speech. So that's, for me, it was like the key thing, getting out what I actually want to say. And then once done that, it was quite, yeah, I enjoyed the contest so far. Yeah.
Fantastic. So just to say, because you had the judging criteria with you, did you make use of it while preparing your speech?
I'm to be totally honest, I didn't. Because I didn't actually know what the criteria was until yesterday. So I sort of like just sort of thrown into it, and then yeah, we'll see what the sort of comments are and where areas to improve, and then focus on those aspects, I suppose.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Josh. Really thoroughly enjoyed your speech. Thanks
for the competition.
All right, cheers. And before we invite Ingrid, could we have Noila as well, please? Thank you, Noila. That was certainly very educated speech. So how did you come up with this? Do you really have passion for it?
Yeah. Well, lately I've been reading about the energy of the body and all the things that affect your immune system, because it's very important at this time. To
Of
have
course.
everybody very strong, let's say,
Mhm.
for family and relative, have positive thoughts, avoid stress and all that emotional balance, all that. So it's all part of the same research, let's say.
Fantastic.
So initially, I wanted to talk about energy and things like that, but it was a bit too complicated topic. So I decided to go for the food, the pH, which is, I found it very interesting. And sometimes we don't pay attention, and we eat so many acidic foods that are full of sugar and things, and we think it's okay, it's food.
Yeah. It was indeed very complicated until we started having your speech and your presentation. You made it so simplified, and there were so many takeaways I personally taken away from there. So great. Thank you so much, Noila. Appreciate it. Appreciate your speech and the presentation. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Now I would like to, first of all, let me check if Paul is not here, which is great. And I'm checking on Ingrid. I can't see Ingrid either. So okay, so let me request Ingrid to join back for her evaluation. Okay, Ingrid is joining back. The beauty in Teams is that I should be able to. All right, here we go. Thank you so much, Ingrid. Okay, I can confirm I can see you. If you say something, I would be able to confirm that I can hear you as well.
Hi.
Great, thank you. That's good to hear from you. Right, so remember the timing: green 2 minutes, orange 2 minutes 30 seconds, red light 3 minutes, and then 30 seconds max. However, the timer will not stop you. So with that, Ingrid, we are looking forward for your evaluation of Matt Tuff's speech. We all are brothers, we all are sisters. Ingrid Luff, over to you, please.
Thank you. And firstly, thank you very much to Matt for your wonderful speech. So I'm going to move straight into the evaluation of this. Let's start with the title. The first thing that we got an idea of what your speech was about. I really liked how we heard your title and then you used this throughout the speech. I thought this was a really great tactic and it was a very kind of poignant title. Firstly, when you came on screen, I noticed your backpack immediately. I've not seen the use of props before, but this straight away sort of drew our attention. I wasn't sure at first whether it was braces, so I wondered what kind of get-up that you'd got. But that was really great how, as you moved through the speech, you put on your hat, and it really put us into the sense that you were an explorer. The question at the start of the speech allowed the audience to consciously participate in your speech. Moving into the content, one thing was there was some really interesting vocabulary. One word which I've not heard before, and it's actually nice to have to go away and look that up. And I would invite other people to use that as part of the speech, maybe try and find a word that people might not have heard before. Your tone and style, so as soon as you came into the body of the speech, your style was very much, in my opinion, of David Attenborough. You spoke very intensely and I really felt like we were looking at the environment around you. And I thought that was really important, especially with your props and your style. So you quickly moved on to the people and how you felt the openness of the nation that you were visiting. At this point, I would suggest that you could have dropped some of that intensity and moved on to how you spoke about how everyone how friendly everyone was, and changed that up a bit. Throughout, I felt that the gestures were fantastic. You stood back, we could see you. Your eye contact was great. I find that so hard personally, but you retained that the whole time. And I thought finally, when we moved into the part of the speech about the animals, you dropped that intensity and you became a lot more animated. Your rhythm really changed when you were talking about the camel shooting away. And that was really the variety that I was kind of looking for at the beginning. A couple of other things. So there was a slight buzz on the line. And I would say that the end of the speech was really great, how you quickly talked about the current affairs and how this your experience moved you to kind of bring yourself to change how your opinion is, and a contrast to the life that we currently have. So although you didn't tell us where the speech was going, it did end with a really nice moral. So overall, really engaging, enjoyable and humorous, and with a very poignant message. So well done and thank you.
Thank you, Ingrid. Madam Timer, could we please have a minute on clock for the judges to score the ballot, please?
One minute is up.
Thank you, Asima. Welcome, Paul. Thank you so much. Now we are ready for contestant 2, Paul Church, to give the evaluation for our test speaker, Matt Turf, on speech title, We All Are Brothers, We All Are Sisters. Over to you, Paul.
Can you hear me first?
Yes, sounds good.
Thank you, contest chair. So, to start my evaluation, I'd like to ask everyone a question. Who else thought that they were in Somaliland with Matt? Because I must say, I did. Like all of the diving and the dodging of the animals and the talking as both people in Somaliland, like you really felt that you were there, you know? And like the descriptions were just so detailed and the enunciation was very slow, very deliberate, and certain words were, you know, they were enunciated more than others to give more impact on those words. And the hand gestures were very dynamic, like always catching your attention. And I also love the use of props. The use of props like the bag and the hat and the shirt as well. Like you really thought you were in Somaliland with Matt, and I have to congratulate him on that. But there is a but. What happens if someone Matt lives with walks into Somaliland, or a lovable pet walks in? This is, I find, the problem with not having a background with certain speeches. If you have a doorway on the side, you can see someone could walk past or something like that. And as far as I know, we don't have many Jack Russells in Somaliland. I might be wrong, but that is my only quandary. Everything else I found was professional and was spot on, basically. And to cap onto that as well, the takeaway was extremely relevant. As we know, with all the issues that we've had in America and the issues in terms of people just, you know, fighting and just not getting along and all that stuff, like to give a takeaway that we're all at the base just people, like we're all just the same, like that was really profound and really drove home the message of what that speech was. So I congratulate Matt on the speech, and that is the end of my evaluation. Thank you, contest chair.
Thank you, Paul. Timer, could we please have a minute on the clock for the judges to do the ballot? Thank you.
1 minute is up.
Thank you, timer. Thank you, everyone. That's where we conclude our very first international speech contest and the evaluation contest. Now, I will request everyone to, except judges, of course, to switch on your cameras and if you like the mics as well. And I will pass on for the cool down session to James. James, if you could come along. James, I will pass on to you. I will just go off to compile all the results and should be back very soon to announce the winners. Chief Judge will announce the winners. Thank you so much. Over to you, James, please.
Thank you, Varun. So this is really just as a cool down, take some time. It's just more of a chat, so it's not a proper table topics. So I'd just like to go first. Go, Josh, as you mentioned in your presentation about future foods, have you had the opportunity to try any of these, like lab grown or factory grown, like artificial or synthetic?
No, none yet. None yet. A lot of vegan ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, none of the cellular agriculture ones. They're not really quite commercial scale. Yet. They're quite niche. But things like the synthetic milk proteins, there are, for example, like other forms of cellular agriculture, like diabetic medicines. We've been doing that for years already, using cellular agriculture instead of deriving it from livestock. So you know the tides are turning for making a cow pretty useless. So looking forward to trying it, trying stuff. Well, because it would just be like meat. They made a chicken nugget, I think, in like 2014. A synthetic lab-grown chicken nugget, and I think it cost about £1 million. So they've still got a while to go.
So you're still saving up.
Yeah, still scraping the pennies to get my nugs.
Yeah.
Josh, I have to jump in there. When we started Toastmasters and we had a meeting in the office in January, I think you started Veganuary then, and someone asked what the pledge was. And me and you were both doing it. And I have to say, if it was you, I miserably failed after about 2 weeks. And it sounds like you're still on that journey. So definitely well done.
Yeah, no, I never went. Yeah, I never went full vegan. I did vegetarian for like 2 years, and then now I've stopped. Now I've just gone back to meat because I can't be asked. My saving grace is cellular agriculture will come through, and vegan foods will come through. Like in a decade's time, they'll be so good that I won't notice the difference. And then I'll just eat them naturally.
I during Christmas time around, I think I went to Greg's. Not my finest moment, but I got this vegan steak bake from there, and it's not beef, but I had like so many question marks. Is it actually meat? Have they given me the right thing? I mean, I ate through that bake, stressed out whether there's meat in there or not.
Wow, that convincing. That's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy things like that, like anecdotally, my brother recently bought a new car, and he's vegan, and he was like quite upset that it couldn't get synthetic leather, or that wasn't an option, that he could buy synthetic leather as an option in the upholstery. And he went to the dealership, and he asked, there isn't any options for on the website, and the dealership said, if you want leather, we can put leather for it. And it's like, what do you mean? It's leather in the car. It's like, no, that's all of it is synthetic leather. As standard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like little things like that. It's like, well, I hadn't even noticed.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
I've seen that they do like mushroom. They make leather from mushrooms, basically like fungi. There's loads of handbags out there, and they do look very convincing.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, James. I would like to pass on to our Chief Judge to announce the winners now, please.
Okay, everyone, I am pleased to say the winners of the first KBR International Speech Competition is, and please put your hands together and bang on the table, drum roll, whatever you want to do, make some noise for Josh. And for the evaluation contest. Noise, please. Come on, we want some energy. Come on, bring some noise.
Yay!
Goes to Ingrid.
Hey.
Woohoo!
So well done to both Josh and Ingrid, and I look forward to seeing you at the area contest, and hopefully you'll progress from there to the next stage. And thank you to Varun for running a contest in a very short space of time. I think it was a magnificent effort. One or two bits we can chat about later, but I thought it was a great effort. Well done, and good luck to the winners in the area contest. Thank you very much for allowing me to come, and thank you also to all the judges who gave up their lunch times to partake as judges, and hopefully I'll catch up with them at some point in the near future. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Diane, and thank you, everyone. We are short of time. My manager calling me currently right now. I need to go. I know some of you got the prior commitments as well at once. Congratulations for Josh and Ingrid. Look forward to catch up with you. Any feedback, feel free to pass on to me or any other committee members. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate judges' time, Diane's time, everyone's time. Thank you so much. I got to go. Catch you later. Cheers.
Bye.
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 Thanks.
Bye,
Take care.
guys.
Thanks, judges and Dan and Baron. Cheers.